Hey guys, this is Bruce, and today I wanted to give you a demonstration of a couple of artificial intelligence tools that I've been messing around with. One of the biggest questions I get is, do I think that AI will replace cybersecurity? Maybe in 20 years, 10, 15 years, maybe. I don't know how far we are away from the change of infrastructure and the technological advances that we're going to have to that would be necessary for that to happen. Can it happen eventually? Yes, absolutely. Eventually it can happen. I mean, it's terrifying, but I think eventually it could take all jobs, to be honest with you. I mean, well, I should say that jobs will be different, I should say. But for now, I would say AI is a really, really, really good tool, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. First of all, is it gonna change the way we do things? This right here is a tool called Mid Journey, and these are some. I was trying to come up with a book cover, and so that's what you're seeing. Some of this is like book covers I was trying to come up with for a book I wrote, a couple books I wrote, and it didn't quite hit the mark of what I was looking for. I mean, these are nice and everything, but it's not quite what I was looking for, and eventually I had to pay somebody to help me with the art because it's just they're just not hitting the mark. But I think an artist with this tool would be able to come up with something way better than what I come up with here. Somebody who does this for a living, but yeah, I couldn't come up with anything, and I was just messing around with all this stuff here. This is some stuff I was just messing around with. Look at this one. This is pretty dark. This is I think it was Apocalypse or something. World War V on Mars colony surreal. Look at this. Look how awesome this is. This is World War V on Mars. It's really fun to mess around with. So I messed around with this one. And then the other one is ChatGPT. ChatGPT. This one is life changing. So let me show you what you can do with this. So let's say, so first of all, cybersecurity is a pretty broad field. Okay. It's very, very broad, and it's not just technical. It's not just hands-on, but it's also documentation and management and stuff like that. It's a huge field, but I'm going to show you some things you can do technically with it, some things you can do to learn, and some things you can do like for GRC positions, which is all this stuff is exciting. Some of this I've never done before. I'm going to do it live. I kind of was messing around with it to come up with some things, and it is powerful. It's a powerful tool, but it's not going to replace a person, like not yet, but eventually if the infrastructure was right and the technology was a lot higher than it is now, then it could totally take over jobs, but we're not there yet. Okay, let me show you. Let me show you the easy stuff, the technical piece. This is going to blow your mind. Okay, let's say I'll give you a real world example. Right now, the place that I work, we have something called Splunk, which is a SIEM. A SIEM is a security information event manager. Now, I've never used Splunk before this organization. Well, I used it, but I was like doing it for training. I didn't use it in a real environment like I'm doing now. So now I'm having to use Splunk to do these real complex searches, to do like audit logs, to see like how the audit logs are running and stuff like that, and see if we can find any kind of system, any kind of security incidents and stuff like that. So it's really good for it's really a premier tool for monitoring, continuous monitoring. So I don't know the commands really well. I'm more familiar with ArcSight and some other tools I've used in the past, but not Splunk. So check this out. Now, let's say I wanted to do a basic Splunk command. Now, look at what it comes up with. This is really good for teaching because I actually was learning some stuff. It's actually teaching me how to not only how to write a basic command, but like why. It's telling me why do you want to write why do you want to do this and where it maps to and all that kind of stuff. So it's a great way to learn. Search expression is telling me how to search expression, search. Okay, stop generating. Let me show you something else here. Show basic Splunk command. right, here's one of the things that happens from time to time. It just will stop. So there's definitely some issues with it. And I guess it's still in beta. So show basic Splunk. I was just doing this earlier and it gave me some commands. Save and submit. Let's see. Let's restart. Show basic Splunk command. So earlier I had to do a basic Splunk command and then I actually typed it into a system and it worked. This is just telling me how to do it. Okay, now check this out. Let's get more specific. Show create Splunk create. Let's see. Let's what if we were looking for an anomaly? Find anomaly in this is telling me how to actually write it, what's going on, how to search. Okay, before I go any further, here are some basic Splunk commands that you can use to search and analyze data on Splunk. Okay, search, and then search _term. This command is used to search for specific terms in data. Field extraction, extract field name, and then put regedit code. This command is used to extract. So this is kind of like a man page, like a manual page that you would do in Unix, or I think you could even do this in Splunk. Time range. It's telling you how to do time ranges. It's telling you how to sort using a very basic regedit command in ascending order or descending order. It's telling us how to aggregate data. It's telling us how to find use the where command, use tables, all that kind of stuff you could do in Splunk. All right, so now I'm trying to look for an actual command. Find anomaly in Splunk. Find anomaly, and let's just type that. Basic. And it's telling me steps again. Okay, I don't want steps. I want actual commands. Command for finding malware in Splunk. Let's see if this will work. To find malware in Splunk, number one, determine the data source that you want to use. Okay, hopefully after this, it'll give me an actual command. Before I was typing it in, it was giving me actual commands. And then I was using those commands in Splunk and they worked. And I don't remember what I actually typed. Let me see. To get that command. User, okay, it's still doing the breaking down all the things that you want to do to find patterns in Splunk. But it's not giving me the actual command. Okay, how about this? Run command to find Linux system, Red Hat system in Splunk. If I wanted to find a Red Hat system, let's say I had Windows systems, I had Mac OS systems, and I had Red Hat systems, how would I go about finding that using a Splunk command? That's what I'm trying to figure out. This thing is a little bit clunky still because it's still in beta, but I'm definitely seeing the power of it. I see why Microsoft and Google and Baidu and all these other companies are trying to jump on the bandwagon to get this done, is because this thing is super powerful. It's almost searching itself. It's conducting the searches for you, compiling all the information you need into something that you can use immediately. And so here's the command right here. Let's see. Now, here we go right there. Look at this. You can actually copy this code here and put it in your system. It's a great way to learn, and it's a great way for you to actually use it. I mean, this is really, really good. Yeah, this is right, because the source type is a syslog. Linux systems use a syslog. They use syslog, so that would be a way to sort it right there against most Windows systems. So that's right. That's the command right there. There it is. Very, very powerful. Now, the more specific you get with these commands, the more it can do for you. So if you were a little bit further along than I am, you could probably come up with way more, better searches than what I'm doing here, because this is super simplified stuff. But let's say you wanted to find a specific malware and you knew the code of that malware. You knew what's going to show up. You could type, hey, find this string in Splunk. Create a command to find this particular string in Splunk, and that string is attached to a hash that's attached to a certain malware. You could do that. So there's so many different things you can do with ChatGPT. Okay, so there's technical stuff. It can write actual code. Like, it can literally create software. Let's see, create. Let me see. A mobile app. I've seen somebody do this before for sorting jobs. Let's see what it does. To find that. So I'm not giving it enough requirements. It's telling me like all the steps you would do for software engineering. Very interesting. Oh, you got to find out if it's iOS. I didn't specify if it's iOS or Android or not. Define the user interface. How's the user interface layout going to be? It's telling me the actual steps you would do to create the code. That's very interesting. One application I always wanted to make was one that searches the web, like a web crawler. Let me see if it'll do that. Whoops, that was an accident. Stop. Okay, web crawler. Create a web crawler using Python. A simple web crawler. And I think what it's doing is it's grabbing data from the internet. Like, it's conducting a search, grabbing all the information it needs, and then it's actually creating it based off of those searches it's doing. Look at this. I always wanted to make a web crawler. Like, there's been a couple times when a web crawler would have been really, really great for me to use. And so here's one that's being written right here in Python. I don't know if this would work. I'd probably have to know some Python in order to get it to work properly, because you're going to have to know some stuff. But here, look at this. It's literally writing code. So if you want a technical breakdown, if you wanted to look for code discrepancies, I'm sure it could do that. This is really amazing. But let's switch gears. Let's switch gears to GRC. This is like writing documentation. Let's say somebody asked me to write them, like they wanted to get a template for a vulnerability management policy. So watch this. I'm sure it can do this. I wanted to write a generic. I just want a generic one. Generic vulnerability. I could spell vulnerability management policy for a medium size organization. For a federal, you know what? For a federal organization. For a U.S. federal Organization. Oh man. Okay. Let's see what it does. Here's an example of vulnerability management policy for a U.S. federal organization. Vulnerability policy is going to have an introduction. The policy outline will identify, assess, mitigate vulnerabilities in the organization's information system. The purpose of the policy is to ensure integrity, availability, sensitivity of information. Okay. Scope. Look, this is really good. It's going by, first you have to define the policy, then you have to do the scope. You're going to have definitions in there. Then you can have basic requirements. Look at this. Look at this. Now, this would be a good starter because within an organization, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to use their previously created documentation to actually do this. So this is very good generic stuff. But, you know, normally when they hire me to do these documents, they want to take their old documentation and then revamp their new documentation. So this is great to know, like, what's the layout, like really, really good. And actually some of the verbiage I could take from this and just to kind of get an idea, for example, of if I didn't want to retype what an information security officer is. Okay, the information system security officer, well, I'll call it, but anyway, information security officer is responsible for overseeing the implementation and enforcement of this policy and for conducting regular vulnerability scans. And so they might call it something different. So they might not call it an information security officer. They might call it a vulnerability management officer, but that's neither here nor there. So you could use this as a template to help you to start off a document. This would be a good filler. And it's telling you like a breakdown of what things that you should see in a GRC policy for a vulnerability management policy. This is not bad. This tool is a highly effective tool, I would say. This is something that's very, very useful. Is it going to replace your job? Absolutely no. It's not going to replace anybody's. Not cybersecurity. It's not there yet. Because cybersecurity a lot of times is you're dealing with. Cybersecurity is a people problem. It's people hacking systems. It's vulnerabilities caused by people. So a people problem needs people to fix it. But these tools right now are really, really good. So that's about it for this one, guys. I just wanted to kind of give you a demonstration of ChatGPT. It's definitely worth your time. If you guys are interested in getting this shirt right here, I guarantee you've never seen a NIST 800 shirt before. If you're interested in getting this shirt right here, I'm going to put a link in the description below so where you can grab this. I'm doing more like GRC type merch if you're interested. If not, it's cool. I'm glad you guys got something out of this, and I'll see you guys on the next one.